Hello and welcome to the penultimate episode in our podcast series.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Harry.
And I'm Dexter. We are students at Nunnerywood High School and are delighted to be part of this amazing project collaborating with the Museum of Royal Worcester.
In our history lessons, we have been taking an in-depth look at the Royal Worcester factory and the stories it has to offer.
This week, we'll be talking about John Masters, a former gilder who worked at the factory between 1951 to the year 2000. That's 49 years at the factory, which is an exceedingly long time.
John is about to explain how he got to work every day.
I was 15 and I had to ride a bike from Stoke to Worcester in the morning, and we used to work from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night and 8 till 12 on a Saturday.
Yes, he really did cycle from Stoke to get to work every day. That's 7.7 miles, and that's only just one way.
15.4 miles on a bike? That's a long way, and that's before doing any work.
And imagine having to work on a Saturday after being at work all week.
Ivor Williams, a famous gilder who ran the department, interviewed John, but never told him how bad the smell was.
The smell was absolutely terrible. The turpentine and the aniseed, it got in all your clothes and everything. And you took sandwiches and it got in that. And for the first fortnight you tasted, and after that you got used to it. You know. The gilding department was just inside the doors in the maid yard. I sort of sat halfway down the shop. And when you first started, you had to learn how to mix the colours before you did anything else. Because in learning to gild, they couldn't let you have gold to practice with because it was too expensive. So you used the red colour and you used to mix that every morning, and you mixed it with turpentine, and then you added fat oil to it. Because you had to grind it all down because it was a bit rough. The colours were rough, so you ground it down with a palette knife, and then you started with the different sort of strokes. I would set you tasked to do different strokes. He'd show you what he wanted you to do. He'd do a sample for you on a plate, and he'd go all round the plate then, sort of doing these little dashes. And when you got it sort of almost perfect, then he'd give you another sort of different stroke to do.
That sounds tricky and hard to get exactly right. Must have taken a lot of concentration and precision.
They worked at a bench opposite other gilders like Bill Ashley, Percy Lewis and Ken Russell, only to name a few.
Bill and Percy were the older men, full of stories they were. They would have a number of different brushes. They would start with the tracer for very fine work, then the liner for putting on lines, then the shader for blocking in. The brushes were especially made for ceramics, made from badger and sable hairs.
Not sure if I want to be the one to collect those hairs, Harry.
Me neither.
If the brushes wore out, how would John get another one? After 5 months, John did his apprentice plate and then progressed on to gold. Every pattern had to be marked out in special ceramic pencils, whose marks disappear when put in the kiln.
How long would one piece take?
Around about 2 days.
For only one item? That seems like a very long time.
I know, right? Let's take a moment to hear some more from John. Here he's talking about the different types of gold that he painted with.
There was the liquid gold, which came in a bottle. That was for ordinary everyday stuff. And then there was the richer gold, which was 22 carat, which was mixed the same as we mix the colour. You mix that on a tile, and you put that for the better quality wear. And then there was a lustre gold. The women use that on sort of cooking wear and things like that, lustre gold. But the raised paste, it wasn't the gold, it used to be a paste. And you used to mix that like the same as a colour, and then you used to put that on, and it used to come up as raised, and it was fired, and then it was powdered gold over the top, and the powder used to soak into the raised colour, and then to highlight it, you did the top bits with Imperium gold, which was the best gold. So you had lovely raised things with nice shine on it.
I never knew there were so many types of gold.
Did you know that when John progressed on to gold, he did simple things like the edges on plates and the dashes on teacup handles? Although he really did not like sauce boats, they were the worst.
I bet they were fiddly. Shame they're not as common anymore in households, but we saw a collection of them at Royal Worcester.
John Masters did national service from 1954 to 1956 as a cook, but when he returned to the factory, techniques changed.
How so?
Well, people had moved on and machines started to come in to do things like the edges on plates, so John moved in 1962 away from China gilding to Albion Mill.
He did, to do porcelain gilding on things like casserole dishes and dishes that will go in the oven. He mainly worked on Evesham and strawberry patterns.
Did you know John once did a dinner and tea service in gold for the King of Nepal? I'll let John explain.
It was a gold pattern because they wanted everything the same. I went into a different room all by myself to do that one. And then the television cameras arrived as well, and they filmed me doing that one.
Did you do any other really memorable one-offs?
Yes, the other person was Princess Margaret. She was the last person to have lustre. I used to have to do her pieces. If she broke anything, I used to come in and I used to have to do them. Ramekins and colcots and things like that, the little tiny pieces.
Everyone had to mark their own work, and John used a tiny dot to the right of the stamp to show others it was his work.
Was that to identify any problems with it?
Yeah, in a way, but I'll let John explain more about the gilder's mark.
Everybody marked their work because if something went wrong in the firing, and they want to know who did it, because you had to do it for nothing if it was your fault, you see. If it was faulty gilding or anything like that, your mark was on the back, so you did it.
And what was your mark?
It was to the right of the stamp on it. If that was a stamp, then my mark was there, like that, on the right of the stamp.
And what was the mark?
It was just a dot. If you look at the really old china, you'll find sort of gold marks around the back, and that's the gilder's mark.
John worked at the factory for 49 years and retired in the year 2000.
And hey, fun fact, the bottles of gold were named so they knew who was wasting the gold.
In the department, you had a safe. We kept the everyday gold. You used to keep that in a safe. That was locked all the time. Everybody had a bottle, and their name was on the bottle. So you knew who was wasting gold and who wasn't wasting gold. There was one incident when a lady got gold on her dress in the China department, and the chap who was in charge of the gold room, George Harrison, took her a smock and told her to go to the ladies and take her dress off and put the smock on, and he took her dress away and got the gold out, soaked the gold out, because he used to keep all the gold rags, and he would wipe the gold off or wipe in the bottles, and the rags with gold on used to be kept and burned or sent away, and we used to have the reclaimed gold come back.
We have really enjoyed taking a look at John's work life at the factory.
So thank you for listening to our podcast. In the next episode, you'll be hearing from Lara and Tasha, who'll be talking about somebody very special.
As for now, goodbye.
Bye!